The ability to play chess is the sign of a gentleman. The ability to play chess well is the sign of a wasted life. Paul Morphy, a great 19th century chess player. Years ago, when I was in college, I dabbled a bit in chess. And the thing about chess is that some people take that game extremely seriously. They absolutely have to win. If they don't, they are the most unpleasant sore losers you can imagine. And when they win, they can't resist gloating to high heaven. I guess that's the case with many games, but I think there's something about chess that takes the gloating to an entirely new and nearly unbearable level. And I mean unfreaking bearable. Perhaps because chess attracts a number of geeky types who aren't much good at anything else. And as fate would have it, during my brief dalliance with chess, I encountered such an insufferable little twit of a player. He would gloat and gloat and gloat every time he won. To protect the guilty, let's just make up a fake name and call him... oh, to hell with it. His real name was Keith. Of course, I had lost more chess games than I could ever remember before meeting Keith, but most other players were usually gracious in victory, so I never really cared much. But losing to Keith became a humiliation I simply could not bear. Looking back, it's fortunate that we live in our modern world where dueling to the death isn't a thing anymore. 2 or 3 centuries ago, I would have gleefully run a sword through Keith's gut and laughed while he writhed in agony. But, lucky us, we live in a civilized era, so I had to find another, less bloody method of striking back. And in the name of fair play, I also couldn't trash his car or punch him in the face. A temper tantrum is no substitute for revenge. No, I had to beat him at his own game. True revenge requires precision, planning, and patience. So, since cold-blooded murder was not an available option, I took an approach less likely to result in prison time. Of course, the wisest course of action probably would have been to stop playing chess against Keith altogether and use all that free time to study, advance my career, go to the gym, meet a nice girlfriend, etc. The best revenge is living well, they say, and probably for a good reason. But I took a different path. I devoted all my time to the study of chess, and I studied, and studied. I bought an astonishing number of chess instructional books and pored carefully over each one. I met other strong chess players and used my meager student savings to pay them for lessons. There's an irony here about paying to lose when, at least with Keith, I was losing for free, but logic and revenge don't always mix. And so I studied chess, step by step, inch by inch, until I became one with the chess pieces. Yes, that's a bit cliché, but it wasn't far from the truth, because throughout this whole time, I was laser focused on chess, and nothing but chess. Everything I was doing, I thought myself, was helping me become better at chess. When I ate, I told myself the food I was eating was nourishing my brain so I could concentrate on chess. When I slept, I was giving my brain the rest it needed to concentrate on chess. Everything was chess, chess, chess. The odd thing is, I didn't even like chess. I even might have hated it. But that was beside the point. I hated losing to Keith even more. So I kept on studying until finally the day arrived. Finally the moment was at hand. I was ready for battle. I went to the library where I knew I could find my mortal enemy. I saw Keith sitting at one of the tables with a stack of books, and I looked at him with a sly contempt. I took the glove off my right hand, slapped him on both cheeks with it, and threw it on the table in front of him. Figuratively, of course. To do that for real would have been too silly, even for me. But I did challenge him to a game of chess, and he accepted. And so we would meet 2 days later at the library where we had agreed to play a best out of 3 tournament. By that time, all the college had learned of our great rivalry, and they would soon gather around to observe our duel as eagerly as townfolk in the Old West watching a gunfight. Or so I would have liked to imagine. In reality, of course, no one cared at all or even noticed. But by now my mind was so twisted, and I was so trapped in a bubble of my own construction that I could easily picture such a scenario. We sat down. I let Keith have the white pieces and make the first move. A large crowd gathered round in hushed silence, by which I mean a few chess geeks looked on and couldn't stop kibitzing. Everything went according to my plan. It was like reading Keith's mind, like I knew each move he would make before he himself knew it. Slowly, unwittingly, imperceptibly, Keith's position deteriorated. He ventured deeper and deeper into my trap. I could see how the look on his face changed as our game progressed. At first, there was that nettlesome, smug look of arrogance on his face. Then there was a look of puzzlement. This game somehow seemed different than all the other games he had played against me. Then a look of concern, a slight fear perhaps, followed by anger and denial. He could not possibly be losing to the likes of me, he must have thought. This can't be happening. I imagined him thinking, anyway. And then, finally, a look of terror, anguish, and lastly, resignation at his own demise. I won all 3 games that day. All those countless hours of study had finally paid off. Or did they? I had envisioned this moment in my head so many times. I thought about how I would turn the tables and gloat the way he did. I thought about how thrilling and powerfully euphoric that moment of victory would be. And it was. For about 90 seconds. After that, I felt somehow empty. Not that I recommend the experience, but I imagined for a moment the great rush of a drug followed by the inevitable crash. And you get the idea. There wasn't nearly as much joy in the moment as I had imagined a million times. Then I looked at Keith and saw a defeated shell of a creature. I was about to gloat, but somehow I couldn't. Probably it was not out of any compassion. Maybe because I knew gloating would make me look like a total twit in front of the handful of people who showed the slightest interest in the game. No one likes a sore loser, but an ingracious winner is truly despised. I wonder why I didn't realize that before. It would have saved me a lot of time and energy. And what was I not doing all that time I was studying chess? I was not studying the things I actually went to college to study. Not going to the gym, not socializing and meeting new people, or dating to meet the future life partner of my dreams. But hey, I won a few games of chess against a pretty mediocre player no one had ever heard of. Worth it? You be the judge.